Why, hello. It is a bit of a dreary day outside, but it's okay because I have the gym to brighten up my day, and that's all I need. And today, it's going to be a back day. I love back day. Back day, as I've mentioned numerous times, one of my stronger muscle groups. Been not a couple weeks, probably been about a week since I've had a good back session. Going into this workout, so yesterday I did a push workout, didn't record that one, hit a PR on the dumbbell bench. I got the 62.5 kg dumbbells for a set of 7, and I went for an 8th rep, and I couldn't get it up. So I had to toss the dumbbells, toss. I didn't exactly throw them, but when I tossed it down, it torqued my elbow. So I have a little bit of pain in my forearm and my bicep. So I can do lat motions without pain. I just have to be very careful. So this is going to be an interesting back workout because it is a minor injury that I can train around. Hitting back probably isn't the smartest idea, so I wouldn't recommend this. But we'll see how it goes. And how I'm going to circumvent this injury is I'm going to primarily, actually exclusively, use machines and cables. So no free weight, no barbell rows, no dumbbell rows, nothing like that. Just going to keep it, simple, nothing crazy. And we'll probably, instead of really trying to push weight, we'll probably make this more of a stretch and squeeze focus lift, where we're really focusing on the contraction, just forcing a lot of blood. Gonna lift as much weight as I can tolerate without irritating my forearm any more than it needs to be. But whenever you injure yourself, you need to be able to assess the severity of the injury, because we don't necessarily want to completely stop training unless you're all snapped up and everything's broken. That's not a good idea, right? But if you can, you definitely want to try to get in the gym, because it's kind of a weird saying, but motion is lotion. Honestly, I have no idea if anything I said was true. It's probably not. I'm not a doctor. I'm just speaking from the bro side of things for myself, right? If I was training a client and they were injured, I would definitely err on the side of caution, because I don't want to be responsible for furthering an injury. But me, who's going to tell me no, right? And I'm living for the weights. So if I can, I'm going to get a workout in. Probably going to start with some type of pull down. If you guys are familiar with the mag style grips, where you kind of cup your hand over them instead of grabbing a handle like a straight bar, I like those a lot more. They just feel a lot better. They take tension off of my biceps, and I don't want any tension on my biceps when I'm training my back in general, but especially for something like today. And with back, it can be really hard, especially for beginners, to connect with their back. It took me a really long time to do this. I finally, it clicked for me a few years ago. And you hear the cue, pull with your elbow, but even that to a certain degree is you are moving your elbow back, but it's more so retracting your scapula, right? You can move your elbow behind you and not have any back musculature contract or anything. So you really just kind of have to, I like to think about it as pull back with your elbow, but also try to make your chest as wide as possible, if that makes sense. I'm kind of limited in the ability to move around, but you'll see it in the workout. But other than that, training's been going really well. I do need to have a movement on my back day where I continually try to progress at that one every single week. When I look back at, previous off seasons, whenever I made the most amount of gains is when I have at least one movement, typically the first movement of my workout, and that's the movement where I'm trying to continually progress, and that's what I need for back. And I've always kind of struggled with pull downs, so we'll see how they feel today, and we might make that the primary movement for the back days to come. Although doing a barbell row would be pretty sick. I also really like T-bar rows. I am going to try the T-bar rows today. I find that anything with more of a, I don't know, like a camber on the bar, or just basically like a curve, so your hand is more in like a natural position instead of just straight. Sometimes that feels a little awkward to me, just the way I'm built, I guess. So T-bar rows will hopefully not do me dirty. But if anything, I'm not going to push it. I'm going to move on to a different movement that works better for me. And that's just kind of like what you have to do. Training, you're going to be finding like a bunch of different, like, think of exercises as tools in the tool belt, right? And you use your different tools for different situations, and you can kind of train around injuries or fatigue. Like if your lower back is fatigued from like a leg day prior, and you don't want to cause more fatigue, instead of doing like a standing barbell row, you could go do a chest supported machine row. So just like that, just trying to think of ways you can put some more gadgets on your belt, kind of like Batman. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. You understand, you're smart. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the gym for the first set. I definitely threw not lifting heavy out the window at the beginning of this workout, like I said I was in the car. Everything is all good though. I definitely did my warm-up before I got started. And for those of you that don't warm up, I highly recommend it. I've gotten to the point now where I have to warm up, and even when you feel like, oh, I don't need to warm up, this doesn't feel like it does anything, I would just recommend getting in the routine of doing it just so you prevent injuries from occurring. Everybody likes to start their lifts heavy, and just going from there. The older you get, the longer you do it, the bigger you get, the more weight you're moving. You're just going to have to eventually start warming up, and it's just going to become a part of your routine. And it's also a skill. So if you can improve the skill of warming up, you're going to get more efficient, and you're also just going to have better workouts. So typically I just warm up with the starting movement, and if it's upper body, I'll warm up the shoulders, do some shoulder circles with some weight, maybe do some pullovers, things like that. But we're doing some T-bar rows, and went up to about 4 plates and a quarter here, just repping it out, holding the squeeze. Really like this machine. I definitely prefer it over a barbell row for the most part. Takes a little bit of the stability out, but you still get the loading of the erectors, which is nice for the back thickness. And then here I moved on to some pull downs with the mag handles like I was talking about. I really like using these handles just because they feel more comfortable, and whenever I use a straight bar, it does put tension on my bicep, and I am able to contract my back, but as the set goes on and I get fatigued, my biceps will tend to take over, and that really doesn't happen when I use the mag grips. So anything that's going to allow me to maintain tension on the targeted muscle, I'm going to go with that. Somebody could come to me and tell me that it's inferior for a numerous amount of reasons, but simply because I don't feel it in my biceps, I'm just going to continue using this. I was using a bit of a narrower handle for these first 2 sets, and it feels nice. It really helps keep the elbows in. But for this 3rd set that you're about to see, I did switch it up to a wider grip, and this was just kind of a nice way to finish off the pull downs and just get a little bit of a variation here. I do think it's okay, if you do a bulk of one type of movement and then switch your grip on the last set, or maybe just increase the reps and get some good volume. Just a way to switch it up, get a different feel, hit some different fibers. Then I moved on to a single arm cable row. I haven't really done these too many times on this cable machine, so I was kind of learning how to set myself up, and I had one foot, my left foot, you can't really see it, on that foot pad, and it just kind of made it so I couldn't get a deep enough stretch. So I think in the next set I end up just putting my feet on the floor and bracing really hard, and then just sitting further back on the seat. But these felt really nice. I was doing about 90 pounds per arm, and really just leaning back into the movement, like I was talking about in the car. I think it's easy to just kind of simplify a movement by thinking, oh, I'm just going to move my arm back, instead of connecting with your back and like actually physically pulling with your back. It sounds simple, but for those of you who know, it's actually a little bit more complicated than it sounds, and it can take some time to learn. And if you're one of those that just gets things right off the bat, lucky you. I wish it didn't take me like 6 years to figure this out, but these felt really good. I actually will probably keep these in the routine just because they do feel really nice, and I do need some more single arm movements for my back day. But it's hard for me to find some that I really connect with, but that's just up to me to take the time to experiment and find those movements. And then one final set here, and just curious for those of you who are down in the comments, let me know what you think is the hardest muscle group to train. I personally think back is the hardest, just because there's multiple reasons. You can't see it, so it's sometimes hard to connect with something that you can't see, and there's a lot of different nuances depending on your elbow position, how you brace, how you stretch, just how you activate your back in general. It can be very hard to grow. I think you see a lot of people in the gym with good shoulders, good chest, good arms, sometimes even good quads. But the back and hamstrings, a lot of the time, those tend to be a little bit more lacking. Even though you can go really hard on back, it's probably the easiest movement or the easiest muscle group to ego lift on, just because you can like swing so much weight by like throwing it around, and you feel like you're getting something done, but you actually don't have any tension. So really, really focus on getting a good squeeze, and then you can build up the weight from there, and then you'll just throw on slabs of muscle like no other, and you'll just be as wide as a barn door. Who doesn't want that? And I always finish off my back days with some rear delts. Really like the reverse pec deck. Feels super nice, easy to connect with the rear delts. I just lift my chest up and then just focus on pushing my shoulders back. Same thing with back movements. You just think about swinging your arm back, but sometimes you tend to just push out through your hands instead of pushing with your shoulders. So big thing in bodybuilding, you actually want to push with the muscle you're using. Anyway, that's going to be it for the workout. I'll see you guys for the pose down.
Back is a wrap. Only took me about 45 minutes. And funny thing, my forearm has been irritated, as I said in the beginning of the video. But because of that, I really had to focus on pulling with my back. And it actually helped me connect a lot. And I have a crazy back pump right now. Finished with rear delts. I know I said I was going to do more of a light workout, but I went a little heavy on the T-bar rows because they felt good. And sometimes I feel like something might be a little off, and I'll come into the gym and just do like some feeler sets and just get an idea of how things are feeling. And if things are feeling good and nothing's getting irritated, then I really see no reason why I shouldn't be able to push past it. And it's not like I even felt like a little bit of a twinge in my forearm. And I need to put lotion on. Jeez, my skin is dry. Anyway, I didn't feel any like twinging or any creakiness, so I just pushed it, and it honestly doesn't feel bad. It probably did me some good to get some blood in the muscle anyway. But without further ado, let's check out the pump before it just fades away. And that would just be the worst thing I could possibly imagine. It's a good front lat spread. Let's hit it from the rear. I don't know how much of the back double you can see. The lighting in here is kind of weird sometimes, but for the most part, really happy with everything. Rear delts are pumped up as well. See, just flexing like this hurts more than anything. So as long as if I'm not flexing my bicep or my forearm during my back movement, we're all good. But yeah, as for me, I have some cardio. I got my post-workout cereal, the classic Cocoa Pebbles. Gonna go put those down, do some walking on the treadmill, and then head on home. But as for you guys, I'll see you when I see you.